welcome to Cherry City Punch. My name is Heather Toller.
And I'm Robert Solberg.
And if you are interested in being on our show, there are a couple ways to do that. First of all, be sure to like us on our Facebook page, Cherry City Punch. And also you can email us at cherrycitypunch@gmail.com. So please let us know if you're interested in being on the show or if you have some events that you would like us to share.
So you're saying people shouldn't contact us at work?
No, they should not contact us at work.
Or are you saying people shouldn't email us at our work addresses?
People should not email us at our work addresses.
Could someone call us while we're at work?
That would be kind of annoying.
That would be
kind
kind
of
annoying.
actually. So.
This is the inaugural episode of the Cherry City Punch, and we already have fans that want to collaborate. So
and we have some great guests for you today. We have Jeff Sanders representing the Verona Studios, and we also have a team from the Diary of Anne Frank, which is from Pinnacle Theater.
Concept about the Cherry City Punch. This is a brand new show. You will see us every week here on CCTV, hopefully, if we have our way. We are about arts, we are about culture, we are about the community. So you are going to see everything run the gamut here at Cherry City Punch. We're going to have theater groups on, we're going to have art teachers on, we're going to have musicians on, we're going to have female bodybuilders on, we're going to have beer and yoga on. We are thinking
the sky's the limit, pretty much anything.
How can we help people understand that there are things to do here in Salem, that Salem's an interesting place, and the Cherry City Punch is where you're going to be able to find those things.
Yes, indeed.
So, welcome to our show. Like us on Facebook. And the most exciting thing is, we already have an announcement. Today's episode and all future episodes are brought to you by Wandering Angus Cider Works.
Yes, indeed.
So, if you are into cider, check out Wandering Angus.
Yes.
So, welcome to the Cherry City Punch. We're going to get to our interview here with Jeff Sanders from the Verona Studio.
Hello, we're so happy to introduce to you our first guest to Cherry City Punch. That would be Jeff Sanders, and today he's actually going to talk to us about the Verona Studios production coming up, where there are auditions. Jeff?
Yes, hi. Hi, I'm sorry, that red light just startled me. Yes, we're doing Daddy in the Deep Blue Sea at Verona Studios. Very exciting. It's a wonderful theater piece. 2 actors, 3 scenes, 2 sets. Very stripped down, very powerful play for 2 people.
Now, who's the playwright?
John Patrick Shanley.
Oh, okay.
He also wrote Doubt.
He wrote Doubt. He also is responsible for the script for Moonstruck, which is a movie that I'm very fond of.
Oh, me as well. That's interesting. Now, so is this your first thing that you're directing at the Verona?
It is. I've done one other show there. I was in Dead Man's Cell Phone in the fall, which was a wonderful experience. I've been involved at Pinnacle, as you know, for a long time, and I've worked in various other theaters in town, and well, it's kind of an exciting time in Salem right now, theater-wise. There's so much going on.
Oh, it is exciting.
And to have the opportunity to work at a theater like Verona that is such a different environment than what I'm used to, and kind of step out of my comfort zone for the first time in a lot of years. It was really exciting.
Now, you've directed at Pinnacle before. I think, well, Robert and I have both worked with you in several different capacities there, but we've never been directed by you.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
You keep running away.
We've heard you're a tyrant.
It's true. It is very true.
No, not at all.
What's the plot of the
We
show you're
have
gonna direct?
2 characters, very bruised, battered characters who meet in a bar, and well, the title page of the script refers to it as an Apache dance, which is a type of dance that originated in early 20th century Paris in France. It's a violent, seductive dance. You can find examples of it on the interweb, oftentimes by people in cliché French costumes with cigarettes and berets and striped T-shirts. And it's seductive and violent, and the play is very much that. They meet in a bar, there is a seductive, verbal and emotional and occasionally physical, violent dance around each other that they do as they get to know each other and attempt to formulate a relationship. Are they going to go home together? After they go home together, where does it go from there? And these 2 battered, beaten people who in their life have never really had even a serious conception of hope. Well, I don't really want to get into what the end is, but there is the possibility that they might have some hope of hope.
Now, Verona, in general, I think their niche area is that they actually do things that are a little raw, edgier, heavy drama. Would you say that's pretty much the norm? Or?
I think that they've done a fair amount of that. Contemporary plays, although they've also branched out into classics. They did a very nice production of Uncle Vanya
That's right.
last season. But they seem to have a little more freedom to experiment with things that are raw. You know, the space downtown, the
Intimate setting.
intimate setting. Thank you. It lends itself very well to that. I froze.
It's okay. So auditions are coming up in 2 weeks, right?
Auditions are the 16th and the 19th of March. The 16th at 7 p.m. at the Verona Studios home in the Reed Opera House, and the 17th at 11 a.m.
And what
The 19th at 11 a.m.
if
not
somebody
the 17th.
if somebody wants to audition,
17th.
not the 17th. If somebody wants to audition for a Verona show, is there kind of a standard way they do that? And what are you going to be looking for the people that come and audition for a two-person show? It can be difficult to cast.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And I'm looking. I mean, the key thing in this particular show is the relationship. You want to see what kind of chemistry two people have together. You know, people think that it's very often not the best actor who gets cast at an audition. It's how people work together.
The
It's how people
chemistry.
create a chemistry, a bond, sometimes a family relationship. And this play is very much about a relationship. And so that's going to be key. Watching two people read off of each other. I'm going to be doing it with cold readings.
Oh, okay.
I know that when I did Dead Man's Cell Phone there, that's how Jenny Bertel auditioned it as well. I don't know if they've done other things in the past, but that is what I'm going to be using.
Is there a certain age range of actor that you're looking for?
The characters state that they are, he says that he's 29, she says she's 31, she may be a little older, she may be 31, somewhere in that area. But again, it's all relative as to what the relationship looks like together.
Now, in this particular space, this is your first time directing, but tell us about some of the past projects you've done at Pinnacle, because I know that recently.
Recently, last year, it's been a busy year actually. Last year, I directed All My Sons by Arthur Miller, which was a dream come true. Wonderful, wonderful script to work with, wonderful cast to work with. It was just a joy and heavy. And then earlier than that, something a little lighter, we did Macbeth. Which I directed.
Something a little lighter.
Grins, smiles, giggles, and laughs there.
Yes.
No, with a wonderful cast. And
Yeah.
that was a real, honest-to-God dream come true. I had directed it once before, and to get a chance to direct it again in a different setting, in something in a more intimate space was really a joy.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
with Macbeth, one of the things that I appreciated about that show is you did it. Shakespeare is adaptable, and you can kind of think of creative ways to present a piece of Shakespeare, Macbeth being the shortest of all of his shows, which I felt like it moved really well. But one of the things I thought you achieved really well in that particular production was the wartime setting that was
Thank you.
modern American war rather than what would be considered a traditional, Shakespeare war setting.
Right. We had
And the bunkers and the and kind of the dwellings of soldiers in combat.
Right. Well, we were taking our hit from World War I. With the war in the trenches, it was so brutal, and we wanted to create this environment that these people lived in that was brutal. And I felt like we got a lot of wonderful help from our designers, and the actors were very much into it, and it helps make it even more real for them. It's not impossible to get into something that's a costume drama and set in medieval times. It's actors could do that. We do it all the time. But it can be even more immediate when it's something that they're much more familiar with.
Oh, yes. No, and one of the other productions that you've done there that I also really enjoyed was Death of a Salesman, because that was just a great work also, and I'm sure, actually, was it the first time you directed Death of a Salesman?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, but you were also involved one of the times that they did it.
I was. I
previously,
played Happy in it many years
Yeah,
ago. Well,
that's right.
let's say a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When you are thinking about directing a show, so you've got the show coming up at Verona titled
Danny and the Deep Blue Sea.
Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, auditions coming up. What do you do to get ready and wrap your mind around that show?
You know, it's always a little different. I read the play, I reread the play, I think about it, I look at where it's placed in the time period, what the time period it's set in was like. I'm very inspired by music. And with Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, listening to, I'm trying to find the right music and how that inspires me. But
So check out theveronisstudio.com for audition information.
Oh.
Thanks for coming in, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. We are here welcoming our next guest to Cherry City Punch. We have Emma Busher, we have Debbie Neal, and Tim Jager. And they are actually involved in the production at Pinnacle Theater, The Diary of Anne Frank. Debbie Neal is directing, and Emma and Tim are going to be acting in this production. So we're really excited to have you guys here. Thanks so much.
Great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and I know it's a crazy time because you're opening next Friday.
Next Friday.
So you're still putting on the finishing touches of everything, including the acting, the set, the costumes. And it seems like it's so far away, but it's coming up quickly.
Very quickly.
Yes, I know it'll be great. And actually, I think you're going to see it on opening night, right, Rob?
I will be there on March
Yeah.
4th. Are you not going to be there?
I will be there as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I was
So-
going to say we usually go, so yeah, I'm looking for. It's one of the shows that I've been looking forward to, just because it's the opportunity to do one of those classic,
Yes.
epic shows. I think that people really, really look forward to seeing, and that is kind of universal in the theater community. And I think it's one of those shows that cuts across to not just people that attend plays regularly, but
Yeah, and on an educational basis. I mean, they're so. I think the first time I ever came in contact with the play was in middle school when I was reading
Right.
it. So I think a lot of students get an opportunity. And actually, that kind of leads me to my next kind of line of questioning is I hear that there's some involvement with the community in Chemeketa specifically, and also other schools in the area. Debbie, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
There is a lot of community involvement. Chemeketa Community College is doing a class on the Diary of Anne Frank as part of their community education program.
Oh,
And those students will come and see the show, I believe on March 23rd.
that's great.
We also have an exhibit at the theater that will be part of, down in the lobby, part of the experience of seeing the Diary of Anne Frank. So we're excited about that.
and where did that exhibit come from?
It comes from the Anne Frank Center, which is the United States version, or they're connected to the museum in Amsterdam, to the Anne Frank house
I
in
would say
Amsterdam.
that's pretty big for Salem. I mean,
It
for
is.
Pinnacle Theater to bring that portion of an exhibit for this show to have in the lobby for the entire run. We're talking a 4-week run.
Right.
That every audience gets the experience of that
Yes.
exhibit.
It's
And
very
volunteers
exciting.
are going to be helping as far
Yes,
as.
we have volunteers who have been trained as docents
Wow.
who will be there to answer questions or to guide people through the exhibit if they wish. I'm very excited to see it set up.
How long is the class? Has the class at Chemeketa already started, or can people still sign up for it? Do you know?
I think they can still sign up, but I'm a little lost on my dates right now.
Yeah.
So it's an
You have
option.
something kind of distracting you right now.
If people want to explore that, they can go to Chemeketa's
They should
website and
check,
check that
yes.
out. But it's an option out there.
Right, right.
So Emma, tell me a little bit. Now, first of all, we should probably say you're playing Anne.
Yes.
Yes. So, and can you tell? Do you go to Dallas High School?
Yes. I do.
Okay. And what year are you?
I'm a freshman.
Oh, great. So, are you excited about this role? What are some of the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Oh, I can imagine. Now, did you also, when you were preparing for this role, did you do any research or?
Well, my sister is a very big Anne Frank fan, so she has like read the book and has researched her a lot. So when I was going to audition for it, she was like telling me everything and just like telling me everything I needed to know, and so I got a lot of my research from her.
Oh, that's great. And Tim, you are playing.
Yeah, and I'm playing Otto, Frank Anne's father,
Okay.
honest father.
Yeah. That's right, because I think you mentioned earlier that you're doing the German pronunciations with all of.
Correct. All the names we're using are German pronunciation.
So we'll have to call you Emma instead of Anna.
How Anne Frank is? I think every girl that's 15 would want to play Anne Frank. So
Probably.
at auditions, Debbie, how did you come to that decision of this was your Anne Frank? What were you looking for in Anne's?
Actually, I think what I was looking for was honesty in emotion and being a real girl, not trying to be someone, just being
This huge
that
historical
person.
figure
Yes,
that everyone's familiar with.
it's a
yeah.
huge challenge for any actress, and particularly for young actresses. You're 15,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
So that's a young person, you know.
Can you talk about what you all have gotten from the trainer that came from the Anne Frank Museum? So there's an exhibit in the lobby.
Yes.
But the cast also had an opportunity to get some historical training and some character work with somebody from the Anne Frank Museum. Is that right?
Yes, it was really an opportunity for the cast, well, and directors, to put this story in context of what was actually happening. What's
And because, well, I think because the characters that we're playing in this case were real people, it was great to be able to ask some questions and understand a little more about their personalities of the characters that we're portraying here and their relationships in a little further detail, so that we can be a little more truthful to that as well.
Now, I think all of you have had some community outreach in regards to getting, I believe, the local synagogue involved as well. Can you tell
Yes.
me about part of that process? And
It's been very exciting. We actually have a person from Temple Beth Shalom who has come to several of our rehearsals to help us with the culture, with the Hanukkah scene in particular. The cast had to learn some Hebrew, and some of them are quite good at it. Her name is Yisraela Tubman,
oh,
and she's been an invaluable help as far as
Having-
answering questions for us.
Having done a show like this where you want to honor the culture that exists
Yes.
of the people that you're portraying, especially in a biographical type of show like this. And so, having directed Fiddler, I do remember that's impactful in not only the audience's experience in the show, but as an actor, you feel a sense. I did
more of a connection.
a connection, but also grounded in the fact that I'm not making up stuff
Right.
that may or may not be historically or culturally accurate. And so I think that's a really important thing that you're doing, is bringing somebody that can help guide the actors if you don't have that experience as a director. So
Right, right.
Now, I believe, Emma, this is your first Pinnacle production that
Yes,
you've
it
been
is.
involved with? Oh, that's exciting. And Debbie, you've how long have you been involved with Pinnacle?
Since 1980,
Oh, wow.
it's been a few years.
Yeah, just a few. And Tim, how about you?
Not too long after that, early 80s, I think. One of my first shows actually was acting with Debbie.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And I know recently you were in The Blithe Spirit.
Yes, last
Over
season.
there, yeah. So that was, I think, our 60-year anniversary. That's what the Pinnacle 60-year anniversary
Yeah.
production was about.
Yeah.
So,
how is this show different, Tim, than maybe the other shows that you've done? You've done a lot of comedy. You've done
Yeah.
Rumors at Gallery. You've done Blythe Spirit. I remember you were in Bus Stop.
Just in terms of meaningfulness, I think this one has a whole extra layer to it, and I think about it a lot. I think about how important this story is, and that people hear this story, because it's that 6 million plus Jews died during this Holocaust is something that, I mean, how do you even comprehend that or get your hands around that, or but I think when it's this individual story about family or some families together, and you see it that way and you receive it that way, it becomes accessible, and what really that it has that great meaning and importance to it.
now this is can you tell me a little bit about this adaptation of this particular story? It's newer.
Yes, yes. The original script of the play was adapted by Wendy Kesselman in 1997, I believe. And what she did, she took additional information that had come out after Mr. Frank died in 1980. Additional pages of the diary were published. She also did a lot of interviews with survivors who had known some of the people involved. And she took that along with the original script and molded a, I want to say, maybe a more true to life experience for the audience. The supporting characters in particular are much better developed, I believe, than the original script. We see a lot more depth from them.
What's the one thing each of you wants the audience to take away from this show?
Do you want to start?
I think just how utterly terrifying that would truly be if that actually happened, because they were just stuck there for 2 years, just couldn't even go outside or anything, especially they had to just leave everything they had and just go with all these people. And so you kind of get to see the relationships that form and how over the years, at first it's just kind of okay, we're in here, but then as it goes along, it's kind of okay, I really, really need to get out.
I think to me, even just that this is a cascade of events in recent times created this abominable thing that just you can't imagine. But there's some ray of hope in it. I mean, there are heroes in the show, and you see them, people that put their lives on the line, risk their lives to protect the Frank family and the other families. But in this case, didn't have a happy outcome, but it's still heartening that there are people that are willing to, make the heroic effort. So.
I think the thing that always strikes me about this story is that it was an unimaginable tragedy and event, and huge numbers of people died during the Holocaust. The thing I find most disturbing about the story is the fact that it is still so relevant. It is still happening. And we don't seem, as a world, to be able to live with each other despite our differences and accept other people as they are. There's still genocide occurring in the world.
It's hard to believe.
It'll be amazing that the day that this show is no longer relevant.
And it'll be wonderful.
It would be
I'm looking
wonderful.
forward
But
to
yes,
that.
yeah, the day that the show's not relevant
Yes.
is historic. But
Yes.
I think, regardless of if it's the Holocaust or something more recent, all around the world, there's groups of people killing each other because they don't agree.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Now, tell us how we can find out more about the Diary of Anne Frank and Pentacle's production of it.
In terms of attending the production?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
So-
well,
We have a huge audience.
Huge
Yeah,
audience,
Right? So
okay.
they need to know how to have tickets.
to get
okay,
more
they
information.
could call the Pentacle office, the box office, and get tickets over the phone. They can also go
to the website.
pentacletheater.org, and order tickets online.
And theater spelled with an R-E.
Yes, it is. I think that, if they don't do those things ahead of time, probably coming out to the theater and buying tickets at the box office hopefully will be a good option, the third option.
And the show starts at 7:30
It does. Curtains
On
at 7:30.
every night.
March 4th is
but
opening.
And Sunday matinees.
Yes,
So Wednesday through Saturdays at 7:30.
correct,
Sunday matinees at 2.
correct.
If
go to
somebody
their website.
go to the website, and if somebody wanted tickets to come to the door, what time would you suggest they start that process?
I think the box office usually opens at 6:45. I would definitely be there by 6:45.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for coming and for joining us here in Cherry City Punch, and break legs on your production.
We'll be there.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
That was a great interview with Jeff.
It was.
I think if I weren't in Urinetown at the Pentacle Theater, the musical, then I would audition for a Jeff show at Verona.
Yes, and I'm also extremely excited about the Diary of Anne Frank. It's going to be a great experience and a great connection with the community. Now we have a special guest for you as well, and he will be a recurring guest. His Isaac Joyce Shaw is his name, and he will be doing a segment.
That we like to call Isaac's Corner. Enjoy.
About a month ago, Robert called me and he said that he and Heather were doing a show together on CCTV called Cherry City Punch. And he went on to tell me that I was going to be a part of it. That's right. I want to make that clear. He told me that I was going to be a part of it. And you know, that's just Robert. So, and you know, we may not like it, but we understand. We don't understand, but we're used to it. We're used to it, and it's like the weather, you know. It's just kind of there, and it doesn't really matter. The weather doesn't care what you think about it. It's just going to happen. It's just going to rain. There's no Robert dance, but that's kind of beside the point. But since then, I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to say today, and well, I've come up with a lot of things, but I can't say any of them. Because there's also another host of Cherry City Punch, and that's Heather. And I got a message this weekend from Robert saying that she doesn't want anything I say to be too contentious. So that's just kind of like them, you know? And it really got me thinking about the sort of people they are, and the sort of things I'd like to say about them, and the sort of positions that they put me in, where they just pit me right in the middle of them, and just kind of, and they just start telling me two things at once, and you know, and then they just say things, and I have to figure it out. I mean, there's things I'd love to tell you about. I'd love to tell you about how Robert wears Spanx on stage. I'd love to tell you that, but I can't tell you that because Heather would get annoyed, you know? And also because Robert's very sensitive about that. But I guess what I have to say today is that I'm still thinking about what I have to say today. And there you go.
All right, well, that was an interesting corner,
Segment,
Isaac.
yes.
Thanks
Good.
for that.
Thank you.
I'm sure more to come, and Isaac will eventually get his thoughts in order of what he really wants to talk about.
Yeah, I had no idea he felt that way.
Yeah, well,
Who knew?
now we know.
You could have asked.
So our favorite part of the show right now is Name That Tune.
Yes, and Danny Potter, our director, she's actually going to hum a few bars, and we're going to see who can guess the name of the tune the quickest.
And Isaac's going to compete with us. And we're
Yes.
going to have a reoccurring score. So we'll find out who is going to be in the lead after this week. So, Danny, tune number 1.
Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
We're ready. My Unfortunate Erection.
That would be from the
All right.
25th annual Putnam County
No.
Spelling Bee.
Who's been in that?
I have.
Okay,
And-
next tune.
Book of Mormon.
Oh, yeah, hello.
Hello.
My name
Is
is
that right? I
Otter.
got it, yes.
That's a point for Isaac.
Point for Isaac.
Okay. Well, that's been our show, everyone. Thank you so
No,
much.
let's talk
yeah.
Heather. Let's not speed through that real quick. Dia Van Frank, March
Yes.
4th at Pentacle Theater. Auditions for the Verona Studio show, Danny and the Deep Blue Sea,
Mm-hmm.
coming up the second and third weeks of March.
Yes.
Odd Couples coming up at South, and there's also the Kaiser Homegrown Show, Time Stand Still,
Yes.
opening next weekend
Thursday.
as well. So.
Yes.
With my makeup.
With
Oh,
Isaac's
and
makeup.
Isaac's
So
doing makeup for it.
check us out, Cherry City Punch on Facebook. Wandering Angus, thanks for sponsoring us.
Yes. If you like to drink, Wandering Angus.
They're a great cider.
All right, we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for joining
Thank
us
you.
on the Cherry City Punch.